The country's gone into a nihilistic fever. That's why I'm thinking we gotta hit the road and get out.
We're traveling across America to find what makes America tick, the charlatans, the geniuses.
The American hero. This is it. We found the point around which Hollywood has gone insane.
We're starting west, where the myth is, and we're gonna head east into the swamp.
We're going into the belly of the beast.
I think I want to leave now.
Doesn't get any more gonzo than this. We may be completely different by the end of this journey. Oh, hey, Warren.
That's my book you're reading.
Really? No kidding. What a coincidence.
What a coincidence.
Wow. This is one of the books you've written. You've written a lot of books, Warren.
Yeah.
Now, The Boy Crisis is this book, and according to the flyleaf here, you're considered to be one of the world's 100 thought leaders, according to the Financial Times.
That's what they say.
So you're...
You never can trust the media, though, you know?
I would never trust the media.
Never.
I guess we're talking gender and gender politics and gender identity, and in particular, men and boys, and this has become a big, big topic recently.
Yeah, when the women's movement surfaced, I said to my doctoral committee at NYU, this is going to be a big movement, and they said, no, it isn't. It's just going to be a fad. And I said, you know, throughout all of history, we've been focused on survival, and survival was best taken care of by men playing raise the money and women playing raise the children and having divided roles. But now that survival's not so focused, in developed countries, we're going to be able to have some freedom from the rigid roles of the past to develop more flexible roles for the future.
Okay, so the women's movement of the 70s really came into focus, and at that time you were suggesting that this would create an offshoot to that movement where men would in some way start to feel perhaps alienated in society, or...
No, I felt that this would be a tremendous opportunity for men because instead of having these rigid roles of I have to raise money, I have to be a human doing rather than a human being. If my passion is to be a musician, my father will be really clear that you cannot make money as a musician, that if you want to be an artist, excuse me, a starving artist, if you want to be an actor, your name will be
so
waiter.
You felt that it was a dual liberation.
I felt it was a dual
women's liberation and men's liberation.
Exactly.
It was a way to both genders to enjoy. But somehow down the road now we've come to a place where men are feeling hunted almost.
Yes.
So what happened?
What happened was that the feminist movement that I was a part of developed what was now called patriarchal theory. They said that the world is dominated by a patriarchy in which men made the rules to benefit men at the expense of women. They completely misunderstood the male role. They adopted this from Marxism, because in Marxism you have the oppressor oppressed, in civil rights you had the oppressor oppressed, and they said the oppressor was male, the oppressed was female. They missed the fact that with men and women we were both in the same family boat.
Yet that women, you know, through the women's movement, then they, as you say, they took this route of a patriarchal oppression that they needed to extricate themselves from.
Yes.
But I'm thinking back 100 years ago, 150 years ago, in England, there was an insane asylum called Bedlam.
Yes.
And there's a list of qualifications where a man can send his wife or a woman to Bedlam for such things as reading too many books, for having menstrual cramps, for disagreeing with her husband.
Yes.
And on that basis, the husband can send the woman to an insane asylum. So to me, there's a little bit of karmic justice in all of this, in that men who feel they're being stalked, who feel they're being hunted, you know, it's the shoes on the other foot.
Well, certainly anytime men understand more of what women go through, that's a very big plus. And the hashtag #MeToo movement has certainly helped a lot of men understand some of the vulnerabilities of women and some of the fears of women. But we should not be having a hashtag #MeToo monologue. We should be having a hashtag #MeToo dialogue.
But men can't have dialogue because men and women think in extraordinarily different ways. Women are more networked and cloud-based, and men are very linear, hammer, nail-based. And that worked great for millennia. And so suddenly society went to the cloud-based, went to a digital-based economy where women's skill set are more preferential in that new economy. So men have a feeling of being made redundant Because they have been made redundant, essentially.
Yes, in many ways they have, but it's really a great opportunity for men. 49% of men, when the Pew Research Center asked them, men who were full-time workers, who were also dads, said they would prefer to raise the children full-time if they weren't going to be looked down upon and if the family didn't need the money. But in order for that to happen, women also have to change in a different way. Instead of just changing by being executives, many women have to feel okay about marrying a man who might want to be a full-time dad.
I can tell you, as a close to 60-year-old man, having been in a number of relationships, that women will say they want a man that shows emotions and feelings. But when you do actually show feelings and emotions, you find out they don't really want you to show their feelings and emotions.
You are right, and you are right. And so this is some of the growth that women need to do. They need to look inside of themselves and say, just exactly what you said. And there's a contradiction there. And every man knows there's a contradiction there. And if women want men to be emotionally intelligent, they need to support men's emotional intelligence.
It's a big ask. You're asking both genders to go against a huge ecologically DNA-enabled imperative.
Yes, the ability of human beings to adapt is part of our imperative. What we have evolved with certain roles, but the most important single thing that happens to all humans and all animals is our biological ability to adapt to changing circumstances. And once survival was taken care of in developed nations, that created a new opportunity for us to not have the rigid roles of the past, to be able to adapt to more flexible roles for our future.
So in my own journey, we're going across America. I'm trying to determine whether I should even stay in this country or, just leave. Should I stay and be part of the fight to make this a better country in some way, or is it hopeless?
The most important single thing America needs to learn is to teach its children to know how to listen, to hear other perspectives that are different, to not assume that to get over the self-righteousness of liberals calling themselves progressives and conservatives calling themselves patriotic. People who are patriotic are people from all parties. People who are progressive are people from all parties. No one knows ahead of time what the best patriotism is or what real progress is.
The fear is that it makes us weak.
To open one's heart to a different perspective takes courage.
That's a very difficult concept for anyone to understand. I mean, it sounds more Eastern than Western. I mean, in the East, they have this concept very readily available that you, by stillness, by meditation, you become aligned with the greater forces of the universe. But in the U.S., it's about individuality, and individual triumphant heroism, and any sign of weakness, emotional or otherwise, is death.
Yes.
Well, so how do we overcome that?
Well, we have to see that it's dysfunctional, and we have to adapt to what is more functional. And what is more functional is to retain a lot of individualism, but also not to the degree that we're afraid to hear somebody else's feelings.
Do you see a country in the world that has a better representation of what you would consider to be a more healthy gender dialogue?
To a greater degree, Denmark does. They teach their children in the first, second, and third grade to listen to
It's also considered the happiest nation in the world.
Exactly.
Have you ever tried to pick up women using this rap?
Actually, the woman I met, who is my wife of my partner the last 24 years, knew full well. She read The Myth of Male Power before she met me, and so.
So there's a happy ending.
There's a happy ending.
Well, let's go talk about this down the road here. You can give me some of your pickup lines. I can pass on to our viewers. This is all very valuable information.
Well, my pickup line is that I'm courageous enough to be somebody who is more than just a role. I can be a real full man.
That sounds beautiful.